Amama, and he said to them, "Does this not belong to Rasulullah?" They all said yes. Then he asked them again, "Why are you insistent on killing me?" They said, "We are doing so out of obedience to the governor Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad." The Imam then addressed them, saying, "Woe unto you and shame on you, O people of infamy! You sought our help, so when we came to help you, you now raise your swords in violation against us. Now you have sided with your enemies against your friends. You cannot expect such enemies to deal with you with justice, nor can you hope any reform from them, so be warned of calamities. Woe unto you, O people of Kufa! Are you really supporting such type of people and betraying us? By Allah, it is your old age custom of treachery, which goes back to your own roots, upon which your branches grow. You are the worst group of people on the face of this earth, like a sore eye to a beholder, and like a morsel to the usurper." The Imam then went on to say, "ألا وإن الداعي ابن الداعي قد ركز بين اثنتين بين السلة والذلة وحيحات من الذلة." The Imam said, "We shall never accept humiliation. We are the men of dignity, and our souls refuse to prefer obedience to the lowly people over dying with honor and dignity. I am most surely going to attack you with this family, although they are small in numbers, although we have been betrayed by those who promised to support us." The Imam then recited some lines of poetry, and then he said, "By Allah, you shall not remain for much longer after this incident." The Imam then raised his hands in dua, and he said, "Allahumma deny them the blessings of the rains, and send upon them difficult years like those of Yusuf. Send upon them the slaves of Thaqif, to make them drink of a most bitter cup. For surely they lied to us, and they betrayed us, while you are our God. Upon you do we rely, and to you is our destiny. Allah will not leave a single one of you, except that He will take revenge from you on my behalf. My killer shall be killed. Whoever deals a blow against me shall be dealt likewise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala most certainly will seek victory for me, my Ahlul Bayt, and my companions." Then the Imam addressed Umar ibn Sa'ad al-La'in, saying, "O Umar, do you really claim that you will kill me, so that the illegitimate son will make you the wali of the land of Ray? By Allah, you shall never have such an enjoyment. This is a promise already made. So do whatsoever you wish, for you will not be pleased after my device, neither with the dunya nor with the akhirah. It is as though I see your head mounted on a stick, and the children of Kufa are tossing it as a toy." Umar ibn Sa'ad al-La'in became outraged and then turned away from the Imam. In the meantime, Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi repented and joined in the ranks of Imam al-Hussein. Umar ibn Sa'ad then advanced towards the troops of Imam al-Hussein, and he shot an arrow in his direction while saying, "Testify for me to Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad that I was the first one to shoot the arrow in this war." The rest of the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad followed him, and the arrows came showering down on the Imam and his companions. There was not a single person from Imam al-Hussein's men except that they got injured with an arrow. Allahu Akbar! This is the beginning of the battle of Ashura. This is the beginning of the battle of Karbala. Imam al-Hussein said to his companions, stand firm and meet your death. May Allah have mercy upon you. These arrows are the messages of war from the people. Bismillah wa billah wa fi sabilillah wa ala millati rasulillah. The army of Haqq clashed with the army of Iblis. The beating of drums and the clashing of swords, blood gushing in the air. The battle raged for some time. By the time the thick cloud of dust on sand had settled down, around 50 men from the army of Imam al-Hussein had been killed. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. When Imam al-Hussein saw the large number of his companions that had been killed, he placed his hand on his sacred beard and he said, the punishment of Allah intensified against the followers of Bani Israel for having attributed a son to him. Then the anger of Allah was increased when the followers of Nabi Isa made him one of three. And then the anger of Allah increased on the Majus for worshipping the sun and the moon. And indeed, the anger of Allah has intensified against this ummah that has collectively insisted on killing the son of their prophet's daughter. By Allah, I shall never agree with them about anything they want me to do till I meet Allah drenched in my blood. The Imam then called out, is there anyone to defend the women of the Messenger of Allah? Hearing this, the women, including Zainab and Kulthum, began to cry and weep. When Sa'ad ibn al-Harith and his brother Abu al-Hutuf heard this cry, they were both in the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad. They realized their sin and they embraced the army of the Imam. They sought forgiveness from him. Then they turned around and kept killing the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad until they were both made shaheed. Having seen how their numbers were quickly diminishing, Imam al-Hussein's companions resorted to one-on-one duels and were able to kill large numbers from the army of the Kufans. Amr ibn Hajjaj al-La'in shouted out to his men, do you know who you are fighting against? These are the warriors of this earth, people of vision, who will stand firm until death. None of you should come out to fight them unless that he will get killed by their small numbers. By Allah, the only way to defeat them is for you to gather together and to throw stones on the army of Imam al-Hussein. You will be able to kill them in one go. Umar ibn Sa'ad al-La'in agreed, and he sent an order to the army to refuse anyone to come out in a single duel. They gathered around the army of Imam al-Hussein, and they began throwing stones at the companions from every direction. Allah. When the companions began to defend themselves, Amr ibn Hajjaj then attacked the right wing of Imam al-Hussein's army, but the companions maintained their ground. When the enemy horses tried to charge against them, the Imam's companions shot the Kufans with arrows, injuring some and killing some of them. Amr ibn Hajjaj then attacked from the side of the river Furat. The intense fighting lasted for some time. When the dust settled down, Muslim ibn Awsaja, who was defending that side, was seen lying on the ground, taking his last breath covered in wounds. Imam al-Hussein and Habib ibn Madahir came towards Muslim ibn Awsaja. The Imam said to him, Rahimakallah ya Muslim, minhum man qada wa minhum man yantadhir wa ma baddalu tabdila. The Imam al-Hussein and Habib ibn Madahir sat by the side of Muslim ibn Awsaja. Habib ibn Madahir said to him, your death is truly devastating for me, O Muslim. Receive the glad tidings of Jannah. Muslim ibn Awsaja in a very faint voice said to Habib ibn Madahir, may Allah convey to you such glad tidings as well. Habib ibn Madahir then said to him, I am going to be killed just like you. If I wasn't going to be killed, I would have asked you about your wasiyah and your last wishes, such that I may perform them for you. Muslim ibn Awsaja looked at Habib ibn Madahir, and then he pointed towards Imam al-Hussein, and then he told Habib ibn Madahir, all that I want from you is to look after this man and to defend him until death. Habib ibn Madahir said, Insha'Allah. Muslim took his final breath between the Imam and the Habib. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Shimar al-La'in then with his army went on to attack the left wing of the Imam's army, but they remained firm and forced Shimar and his army to retreat. In this encounter, Abu Wahab killed 19 horsemen. Abu Wahab was from the army of Imam al-Hussein. He killed 19 horsemen and 12 foot soldiers. However, as the fighting continued, his right hand got severed from the elbow and his left leg was cut off from just above the knee. He was then taken as a prisoner by Shimr al-La'in and was instantly executed. His wife Wahab walked towards his body and sat by his head, wiping the blood from Abu Wahab from the head and saying, congratulations, for you have entered paradise. I pray to Allah to unite me with you. When Shimr heard this, he told his slave Rustam to kill this lady. Rustam came behind Wahab. He hit her with a tent pole at the back of her head, instantly killing her. She was the first woman to be martyred and to become shaheed from the camp of Imam al-Hussein. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. After this, Shimr al-La'in then launched an attack and threw his spear towards the tent of Imam al-Hussein. Shimr threw his spear towards the tent of Imam al-Hussein, and then he cried out, bring me fire, such that I can burn the tents over the people. The women and the children began to weep and to cry. The children ran out of the tents. Imam al-Hussein called out to him. He said, Yabna dhil Joshan, do you really want to burn down my tents while my family are inside of them? May Allah burn you in hell. Shabith ibn Rabi cried out to him and said to Shimr, do you intimidate the women? I have not seen a more despicable and a more cowardly stance than this. Zuhair ibn al-Qayn then attacked him with a group of 10 men until they dispersed Shimr and his army from around the tents of Imam al-Hussein. At this time, the time of Zawwal had set in. Abu Thamama al-Sa'idi then looked up to the sky and he noticed that it was the time of Zawwal. He said to Imam al-Hussein, may I be sacrificed for you? These people have surely encircled you, but by Allah, you shall not be killed before I die defending you. And I would love to return to Allah after having performed the prayers whose time has approached. Imam al-Hussein then raised his head towards the skies and he said to him, ذكرت الصلاة جعلك الله من المصلين والذاكرين. Ask them to stop the war and let us pray. When Al-Hasin La'natullah alayh heard the Imam wanted to pray, he shouted towards Imam al-Hussein and he said to him, O Hussein, do you think your prayers shall be accepted by Allah? Habib ibn Madahir angrily replied, "You donkey, do you think the prayers of the Prophet's family are not accepted while yours are accepted?" Habib ibn Madahir was not able to contain himself, so he asked the Imam for permission and went out for war. Despite his old age, Habib fought bravely, killing 62 men. Badil ibn Suray al-La'in then attacked Habib ibn Madahir with a sword, as another man from Tamim came and pierced Habib with a spear. Habib fell down to the ground. As he tried to stand up again, Al-Hasin came running and struck Habib ibn Madahir with the head on the head with a sword, causing him to fall down face first. A man from Tamim then came and beheaded Habib ibn Madahir. The killing of Habib was difficult for Imam al-Hussein. He then said, "It is only to Allah that I complain about what has happened to me and my companions." The Imam then kept repeating, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." One by one, each one of the companions went into the battlefield and fought bravely until they were killed. Until the time of Jawn, the Mawla of Abu Dhar, his turn came and he asked permission from Aba Abdullah to fight. The Imam said, "During your good health you followed us, and so you are excused from your old age in performing jihad." John fell to the ground. He began to kiss the feet of Imam al-Hussein. He said to him, "I ate from your table during the good times. How can I betray you during hardship? My smell is surely bad, my lineage is lowly, and my color is dark. So I ask you, Ya Aba Abdullah, to bless me and to bestow upon me a breeze from heaven, such that my scent shall be good, and my lineage will be honored, and my face will be illuminated. By Allah, I shall never abandon my Imam till my blood is mixed with your blood." Imam al-Hussein finally gave John permission. John killed as many as 25 men before he was finally made Shaheed. Imam al-Hussein then came and sat by the body of John. He put the head of John on his lap. He put his cheek on the cheek of John, and then he prayed for him. The enemies narrate, whenever we passed by the body of John, we would be able to smell the sweet fragrance of musk. The next person to go into the battlefield was Anas ibn al-Harith. He was an old man from amongst the companions of Rasulullah. He had fought in the battle of Badr and had fought in the battle of Hunain. He took the Imam's permission to fight. Because of his old age, he was not able to stand upright. So he untied the amama from his head and he tied it around his waist such that he can stand upright. He had a bandage on his forehead. The Imam who looked at him and began to cry. Imam al-Hussein said to him, "May Allah thank you, O Sheikh, for what you were doing for us." Despite his old age, the man went and killed 18 people until he himself became Shaheed. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. One by one, each and every one of the companions of Imam al-Hussein became Shaheed, until a time came where no one remained within the camp of Imam al-Hussein except the Ahlul Bayt. Allah, Allah. Ahibai, we are living through the day of Ashura, and you are mentally traveling with Imam al-Hussein, and you are watching each one of these companions of Imam al-Hussein become Shaheed. The Maktal says no one remained with Imam al-Hussein except his Ahlul Bayt, who were determined to face death with their might and to maintain their dignity. They came bidding farewell to each other, the first one being Abul Hasan Ali al-Akbar. All the women of the household surrounded him, saying, "Have mercy on our loneliness in this strange land, for we cannot bear your separation." He then sought permission from his father and went into the battlefield, riding his father's horse. He attacked the enemies fiercely while saying, "I am Ali, the son of Hussein ibn Ali. We are by the Lord of the house more worthy of the Nabi. By Allah, we shall never be ruled by the Da'i. With the sword shall I defend my family and strike the strike of a Hashemi." Imam al-Hussein looked at his son Ali al-Akbar with great grief. His eyes were filled with tears. He shouted to Umar ibn Sa'ad, "What is wrong with you? May Allah cut off your lineage, just like you have done to mine. You have not respected my kinship to the Holy Prophet. May you be slain in your bed." He then uncovered, Imam al-Hussein then uncovered his hair. He raised his hands towards the heavens and he began to recite dua. He said, "O Allah, bear witness against these people that a man who resembles your messenger Rasulullah in his physique and in his manners has come out to fight them. Whenever we wish to see Rasulullah, we would look at Ali al-Akbar. O Allah, deprive them of the blessings of the earth, create dissension among them, and make them into many parties, and do not let their rulers ever be pleased with them, for they invited us to support them, and then they transgressed onto us and fought against us." Imam al-Hussein then said, "Inna Allah astafa Adam wa Nuhan wa ali Ibrahim wa ali Imran ala al-alamin. ذرية بعضها من بعض والله سميع عليم." Ali al-Akbar kept attacking the right wing, dispersing them to the left, and killed 120 horsemen from the enemies. He was then overcome by thirst, so he returned back to his father, Imam al-Hussein, complaining about the thirst and the heaviness of the armor. Imam al-Hussein began to cry. He said to Ali al-Akbar, "How soon shall you meet your grandfather Ali al-Murtada, who will then quench your thirst with a drink from the pond of Kawthar? After this, my son, you shall never become thirsty again." Ali al-Akbar returned to the battlefield. He intensified his attack, killing a further 200 soldiers from the enemies. At this point, Murra ibn Munkid al-Abdi attacked Ali al-Akbar. He pierced Ali al-Akbar with a sword in his back, and then he struck Ali al-Akbar with a sword on his head. The Maktal says, فَفَلَكَ حَامَّتُ. He split open the skull of Ali al-Akbar. Ali al-Akbar began to hug the neck of the horse such that he would not fall over, but the blood that was flowing from his head was flowing onto the face of the horse. The horse was not able to see where it was going, so it ran in the direction of the enemy camp. They all surrounded Ali al-Akbar. All the enemies took a chance to hit Ali al-Akbar. Someone would strike him with an arrow, so someone would strike him with a spear, and another one with a sword, and another one with a stone. The Maktal says, فَقَطَّعُوهُ إِرْبًا إِرْبًا. They cut Ali al-Akbar to pieces. When he fell off his sword, he cried out, "Alayka minni salam, Ya Aba Abdullah." He said, "Upon you is my salam, O my father." Imam al-Hussein came came running towards Ali al-Akbar. And then at this point, Imam Ali al-Akbar said, here is my grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib. He has come with a cup from Kawthar. He said, oh my father, here is Rasulullah. Here is Fatima al-Zahra. Here is Khadija. They have come to take me to Jannah, and each of them are calling towards you. Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal. Imam al-Hussein then sat down by Ali al-Akbar. He placed his cheek on the cheek of Ali al-Akbar, and then he said, Ala dunya ba'daka al-afa. How hard is it upon your father that you were there, that you called on to him, but he was not able to respond to you, that you tried to seek help from me, but I was not able to help you. He then took a handful of the blood of Ali al-Akbar and he threw it towards the heavens. After Ali al-Akbar, Abdullah, the son of Muslim bin Aqil, came out to fight, saying, today I shall meet my father Muslim among a band of people sacrificed for the Prophet of Islam. He killed a large number of enemies, and then Yazid ibn Rukad al-La'in shot Abdullah ibn Muslim with an arrow. Abdullah tried to protect his face with his hand, but the force of the arrow was such that the arrow went through the palm of Abdullah, piercing it to the forehead. Abdullah's palm was stuck to his forehead. He was not able to move his hand. He said, Ya Allah, they have found us few in number and they have humiliated us. Oh Allah, kill them in the way they have killed us. An enemy then came and he pierced the spear into the heart of Abdullah. He fell off his horse and he lay dead on the ground. The enemies came to the body of Abdullah and they began to remove the arrows that were already planted inside. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Thereafter, the family of Abu Talib engaged in a collective attack. The Imam called out to them, saying, Sabran ya bani umumati. By Allah, after today you shall not meet any hardship at all. Amongst them was Aun, the son of Abdullah ibn Ja'far, and Sayyida Zainab, and his brother Muhammad. And then there was Abdul Rahman and Ja'far, the sons of Aqil. And then there was Muhammad, the son of Muslim bin Aqil. Hassan al-Muthanna, the son of Imam al-Hassan, received 18 wounds. His hand was cut off, but he was not martyred and remained as a survivor. And then Muhammad, the son of Amirul Mu'mineen, came out to fight and was killed by Zahar ibn Badr al-Nakha'i. After that, Abdullah ibn Aqil then came out to fight until he was overcome with many wounds and fell to the ground. Uthman ibn Khalid al-Tamimi took advantage and killed him. After this, Abdullah al-Akbar, the son of Imam al-Hassan, came out to fight together with his brother. He was killed, and then his brother Qasim came out to fight. Qasim was a young boy barely of age. When Imam looked at him, he began to cry bitterly. He hugged Qasim. Both of them began to cry until they fainted. When they gained consciousness, the Imam gave Qasim permission to go to the battlefield. Qasim came into the battlefield on foot and killed 70 of the enemies. The lace of his sandal became untied. Then Qasim bent down to tie his lace, as if to say to the enemies that I do not care about you and that you do not mean anything to me. At this moment, Amr ibn Sa'id al-Azadi attacked Qasim. He struck him with a sword on his head. Qasim fell down face first and he began to cry. He cried out, Ya Amma, adrikni. O Hussein, O my my uncle Hussein, come and help me. By the time Imam al-Hussein brought the body of Qasim back to the tents or back to the khaymaga, his mother was standing in shock. She then went on to do sajdatul shukr for the sacrifice of her son. The narration mentions that the Imam, when he came to collect Qasim, he began to weep and began to cry, saying, how difficult is it on your uncle that you called on to him, but he was not able to respond, and when he responded, he was not able to help you. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. After this, when every one of the Bani Hashim was made shaheed, Abul Fadl al-Abbas came to Imam al-Hussein and he said, I want permission from my brothers Abdullah, Uthman and Jaffar to go forward. Imam al-Hussein said to his brothers, I want you to be made shaheed in front of me. The three brothers went, the sons of al-Banin, and became shaheed. At this point, Abul Fadl al-Abbas could not contain his patience anymore. Having seen how his family members and companions had been killed, he could not bear to see the suffering of Imam al-Hussein. So he went and he asked permission from Imam al-Hussein. Imam said to him, Akhi Abbas, anta sahibu liwa'i. Oh my brother Abbas, you are the commander of my army. Al-Abbas said to him, I am fed up of these hypocrites and want to seek revenge against them. Imam al-Hussein asked them to bring water for the children. So Abul Fadil went out and mounted and addressed the people. He said to them, he warned them about the punishment of Allah, but they paid no attention to him. Abul Fadil then shouted out, O Umar ibn Sa'ad, this is Hussein, the son of the daughter of Rasulullah. You have killed his family and his companions, and here his children are suffering from thirst. Give them some water, for the thirst has burnt their hearts. As he kept saying this, he said, leave us and let us go towards Rome or India, and we shall leave Hijaz and Iraq for you. Shimr then cried out. He said, O son of Abu Turab, even if the entire earth was filled with water and had been under our control, we would still not give you a single drop of water to drink until you pay bay'ah to Yazid. Abul Fadl al-Abbas then turned around and went to the tent to tell Imam al-Hussein what had happened. He could not tolerate the wailing and the weeping of the children, 3 days hungry and thirsty, each one of them crying out, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Imam al-Hussein gave Abul Fadl the water bag and permission to go and fetch the water. Abbas took the alam in his hand and he put the water bag around his neck. He went into the Maidan riding his horse while the flag was waving above his head. 4,000 archers surrounded him and shot arrows towards him, trying to prevent him. But despite all of this, they could not stop Abul Fadl al-Abbas. He did not care about their numbers. He attacked them fiercely with his sword, dismantling their ranks until he conquered the Furat. He got off his horse and then he took a handful of water from the Furat, remembering the thirst of Imam al-Hussein. And then he recited a poem saying, Ya nafsu ba'da al-Husseini huni wa ba'dahu la kunti am takuni. هذا الحسين وارد المنون وتشربين بارد المعين لا والله ما هذا من فعال ديني ما هذا من فعال صادق اليقين. Abul Fadil said, I can never drink the water while Hussein is thirsty. So he filled the water bag and rode his horse horse towards the tent. The enemies blocked the path of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, so he attacked them ferociously until he killed a large number of them and dispersed their ranks. Zayd ibn Ruqad al-La'in was hiding behind a palm tree. When Imam Abbas rode past the palm tree, Zayd al-Ruqad struck Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas on the right arm, severing the arm of Abbas in its entirety. The right arm of Abbas fell on the plains of Karbala. He took the flag and he took the sword in his left hand, and he continued to attack the enemies, saying, Wallahi in kata'tumu yamini fa inni uhami abadan an dini wa an imamin sadiqil yakini najlun right hand, I shall continue to defend Imam al-Hussein. The main goal of Abbas was to get the water to the tents. At this point, another La'in, Hakim ibn Tufail, hid behind another palm tree. When Abbas passed him, Hakim struck the left arm of Abbas, completely severing it. The left arm of Abu al-Fadl fell to the ground. He took the remaining part, he took the alam with what was remaining from his arms, and he put it towards his chest. Without any arms, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas continued to ride his horse. The enemies attacked him from every direction, and they shot arrows at him. The arrows fell upon Abbas like they were rain. One of the arrows pierced the water bag that was around the chest of Abu al-Fadl. The water spilled into the desert sands. Another arrow pierced the chest of Abbas. Another arrow pierced the eye of Abbas. Then came an enemy and struck Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas with a tent pole in his head, splitting open the skull. Abu al-Fadl fell down to the ground and cried out, Alayka minni salam, Ya Aba Abdullah. Imam al-Hussein came running towards Abbas with a lot of difficulty. He came running towards Abbas. When Imam al-Hussein saw Abbas lying on the sand without any arms and with an arrow inside his eye, Imam al-Hussein said, Al-an inkasara dhahri wa kallat hilati wa shamuta bi aduwi. Imam al-Hussein said, now truly Abbas, my back is broken. My enemies are going to take advantage of me and they are going to ridicule me. The Imam placed Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas's head on his lap. He asked the Imam, Abu al-Fadl asked Imam al-Hussein, please do not take my body back to the tents. Abu al-Fadl said this, and he took his last breath. His pure soul ascended up to the heavens. Imam returned back to the Khaymaga, heartbroken, deep stricken with grief, but he was wiping his tears with his sleeves, and then he called out in a desperate voice, Hal min nasirin yansurna, Hal min mughithin yughithuna. When the Imam said this, Sukaina came up to Imam al-Hussein. She said, where is my uncle Abbas? Imam al-Hussein was not able to give an answer. So he went and began to dismantle the tent of Abu al-Fadl. So Sukaina understood that my uncle Abbas is not coming back. All the women sat in the tents and began to weep in the loudest voices. When Imam Sajjad saw all this, the narration mentions, Imam Zainul Abidin stood up, supporting himself on a stick, and he came out with a sword on the other hand, a walking stick in one hand and a sword on the other hand. Even though he was severely sick and could barely walk, Imam al-Hussein cried out to Kulthum, take care of Zain al-Abidin. He is the final hujjah of Allah after me. Put him back, take him back in the tent and protect him. Imam al-Hussein then bid farewell to his family. Ya Allah, Allah. Imam al-Hussein bid farewell to his family. He wore a dark robe, and then he wore the Aba of Rasulullah, and then he wore the Amama of Rasulullah. He opened the two ends of the turban across his shoulders, and then on the side he took up the sword of Rasulullah. He then began to tear garments. He began to tear his shirt under his robe, such that if the people would see he's wearing a torn shirt, they would not steal it from his body after his death. He then called for his infant child to bid him farewell. So Zainab brought him from his mother Rabab. Imam placed the infant on his lap. He kissed him while saying, "May Allah punish the people who have made you to suffer like this, my infant." He then approached the enemies. He took his baby Aliyun al-Asghar seeking water to the battlefield. He asked the army to quench the thirst of the baby, but Hurmala shot him with an arrow, slaughtering the child in the arms of Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein took the blood in his hand that was coming out from the neck of Aliyun al-Asghar. He threw it up towards the skies. Imam al-Baqir says, not a single drop of blood fell back to the ground. Then the Imam said, I bear this affliction, knowing that Allah is my witness. Ya Allah, this child of mine, Aliyun al-Asghar, he is not lesser in divinity than the camel of Saleh. Ya Allah, if victory has been kept away from us, then let it be kept for something that is better. Ya Allah, protect for us and give us a great reward in the akhirah for the blood of this infant, and seek revenge for us from our oppressors. O Allah, you are witness that they killed the one who resembled the Prophet most. Then Imam al-Hussein heard a voice cry out from the heavens. Imam al-Hussein was not able to go back to the Khaymaga with a small infant whose neck is being shattered with an arrow. Imam al-Hussein took a step forward and said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And then he took a step back and said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. How do I show the mother the baby with an arrow in its neck? At this point, Imam al-Hussein heard a cry from the heavens. The voice cried out to him, O Hussein, let the baby go. Indeed, there is a nurse for him in Jannah. Imam al-Hussein then came back with the slaughtered infant back to the tent. Zainab saw the baby Aliyun al-Asghar covered in blood, and his jugular vein was shattered. The arrow was still stuck inside his neck. The Imam then faced the enemies after bidding farewell to the women. Allah, Masa'ib Imam al-Hussein, Maktal. The narration mentions the Imam then went and bid farewell to the family. Imam al-Hussein then went into the Maidan and faced the enemies with his sword, challenging them to battle and killing them from every direction until he killed a large number of them. He then attacked the right wing, dismantling it, and attacked the left wing, saying, I am Hussein ibn Ali. I decided that I shall never succumb to dhulm. I, Hussein, shall always protect my father's family. Allah, Allah. The narration mentions, or the Maktal continues, remaining on the Prophet's creed, Abdullah ibn Ammar says, I have never seen a person who has suffered such great calamities and surrounded with so many enemies, with so much nur on his face and with so much energy to continue to fight in the battlefield. Imam al-Hussein fought like a courageous and relentless lion. No one was able to stand in front of Imam al-Hussein. So Umar ibn Sa'ad shouted, "This is the son of the quarrelsome one. This is the son of the killer of the Arabs. Attack him from every direction." 4,000 arrows were shot at Imam al-Hussein. 4,000 arrows were shot on Imam al-Hussein. They made him to come off his horse. Imam al-Hussein then shouted to them and said, O Shias of Ali Abu Sufyan, if you do not have any religion and you do not fear the hereafter, then at least be free men. If you are the sons of your father and you are truly Arabs as you claim. Shimr cried out and he said to him, Shimr cried out to Imam al-Hussein and said, "What do you mean, O son of Fatima?" The Imam al-Hussein said to him, "It is I who is fighting you, and the women are not accountable. So why are you attacking my women when your enmity is with me? Keep your wicked men away from the women, O Shimr, and stop them from harming them so long as I am alive." Shimr replied, "Indeed we shall do that." Imam al-Hussein became the target of the fighters. The battle intensified. Imam was attacked from every direction. The Imam also went on to attack the direction of the Furat that was guarded by 4,000 men. Imam dislodged them. Imam al-Hussein conquered the Furat. He then said to his horse, "You are thirsty and so am I, but I shall not drink before you." Even the horse refused to drink water. It's as if it understood what Imam al-Hussein was saying. And then an enemy shouted out to Imam al-Hussein, "You stand by the Furat while your women are being attacked again." When Imam al-Hussein heard that the women are being attacked, he charged towards the tent like a roaring lion, sending everyone on his way to Jahannam wa bi's al-masir. He then reached the Khaymaga for a last time. He bid all the women farewell, al-wida, for one last time. He gathered all the women. He commanded them to have sabr. And then he said to them, "O Zainab, be ready for all the difficulties that are going to fall upon you." Allah shall protect you and safeguard and punish your enemies. Allah shall recompensate you for all the difficulties you go through. And then he went to his daughter Sukaina, who was sitting by herself and crying. Imam said to her and consoled her and bid her farewell. At this time Umar ibn Sa'ad al-La'in cried out to his army. He said, "Attack Hussein while he is busy bidding farewell to his women. Indeed, if Hussein turns his attention towards us, you will never be able to defeat him." They then shot arrows towards the tent of Imam al-Hussein while he was there bidding farewell to the women. The extent of the arrows that were shot was such that some of the arrows pierced the hijab of the ladies, frightening them and frightening the children. Imam al-Hussein then came out of the Khaymaga and he attacked the enemies like a raging lion. A jihad that was the jihad of Haydar al-Karrar. All this time Imam al-Hussein kept receiving arrows with his chest, arrows on his back. All this time Imam al-Hussein kept saying, "La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim." He then sought for water. Shimr said to him, "We shall never give you water, but you will taste the fire of Jahannam." Another enemy shouted at Imam al-Hussein. He said to him, "O Hussein, do you look at this Furat? Look at the pigs and the dogs are drinking from Furat, but you will not drink from this Furat." Abu Hutuf al-Ju'fi then shot the Imam. Abu Hutuf al-Ju'fi, la'anatullah alayhi, shot Imam al-Hussein with an arrow. This arrow pierced the forehead of Imam al-Hussein. The Imam pulled out the arrow. The blood began to pour down the face of Imam al-Hussein. And then Imam al-Hussein said, Ya Allah, you see how I have suffered at the hands of this evil people. Never forgive them, Ya Allah. The Imam then in a loud voice said, how evil have you been to the prophets in regards to their progeny? By Allah, I hope that he shall grant me martyrdom and will avenge me from where you will not even know, due to the great number of wounds and the amount of blood that was lost. Imam al-Hussein stopped to take a brief pause. At this time, one of the enemies threw a stone on Imam al-Hussein. It hit the forehead of Abu Abdullah. Blood began to pour down from the Imam's forehead. He wiped the blood from his forehead and removed it from his eyes. Another one of the enemies shot Imam al-Hussein with a three-pronged arrow. This pierced the heart of Imam al-Hussein. La ilaha illallah, bismillah wa billah, wa ala millati rasulillah. Imam al-Hussein looked up towards the heavens. He said, Ya Allah, you know they are fighting me, and I am the son of the daughter of your prophet. There is no one like me. The narration mentions the arrow which pierced the heart of Imam al-Hussein was such that it had come out of the back. So Imam al-Hussein pulled out the remaining of the arrow from his back. The blood began to gush like a fountain. At this time, Imam al-Hussein placed the hand on his wound. He filled his hand with the blood. He threw it up towards the skies. And he said, Oh Allah, you are witness. And then the Imam took the blood for a second time. He wiped it on his face and his beard. And he said, Ya Allah, this is how I'm going to meet Rasul Allah on the day of judgment. Aji Allah, Allah. The Imam was seated on the sands of Karbala, covered in his own blood. At this time, another one of the Lu'een by the name of Malik ibn Nasr came, and he started insulting the Imam and abusing him. He then came and he struck Imam al-Hussein with a sword on his head. 10 people were surrounding the Imam when suddenly 10 people were surrounding the Imam when suddenly a young child from the camp of Imam al-Hussein came running out, waving a tent pole right and left as if he wanted to defend his uncle. A horseman from the enemy came and he struck the child with a sword on the head, killing him while he was still there and the mother was watching. This child's name was Muhammad ibn Sa'id ibn Akil. Another child, the younger brother of Qasim, came running out into the battlefield. He was 11 years of age. He came running out of the Khaymaga. Sayyidah Zainab tried to hold him, but she wasn't able to manage. This young child, Abdullah ibn Hassan, he came running into the Maidan between the enemies, and he said to them, why are you hitting and attacking my uncle? He said to the enemies, why are you attacking my uncle? The narration mentions, so the child said, he came and he threw himself on the chest of Imam al-Hussein, another trying to protect the Imam. But another person from the enemies came and tried to strike the child with a sword. The child tried to protect himself, his arm got cut. The Maktal mentions his arm was partially hanging from the elbow. The child cried out, Ya Amma, and fell onto the lap of Imam al-Hussein. Imam Hussein hugged him and said to him, have sabr, my dear nephew. Hurmala then shot an arrow towards the child. It pierced the neck of the child, making him shaheed on the chest of his uncle. Shimr then cried out to the army, what are you waiting for? Attack Hussein while he is weakened with his injuries. Zur'a ibn Sharik then came. he struck the Imam with a sword on the left shoulder. Hassan hit Imam al-Hussein on the throat. Sinan came and struck the Imam on the chest with a sword. Allah, Allah. The Imam raised his eyes towards the heavens and he invoked Allah for a final time. And he said, Ya Allah, judge between me and this nation that has oppressed me and oppressed the progeny of your Prophet. The narration mentions at this time Shimar came towards Imam al-Hussein. He had a khanjar in his hand. I will not recite that Masaib, but while he held the dagger, Sayyidah Zainab came running from the till. She said, Oh Shimar, Ya Adu Allah, this is my brother Hussein. Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. صرف رونے کو محمد کی نواسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. سج گئی قاسم کے ٹکڑوں سے ادھر کرب و بلا. سج گئی قاسم کے ٹکڑوں سے ادھر کرب و بلا. سج گئی قاسم کے ٹکڑوں سے ادھر کرب و بلا. ماں ادھر بیٹے کی دلہن کو سجاتی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. چھین تھا شمر چادر اور زینب بار بار. چھین تھا شمر چادر اور زینب بار بار. چھین تھا شمر چادر اور زینب بار بار. اپنی چادر کے محافظ کو بلاتی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. خون دل عباس کا سب بہہ گیا رن میں مگر. خون دل عباس کا سب بہہ گیا رن میں مگر. خون دل عباس کا سب بہہ گیا رن میں مگر. دل میں بس ایک بات زینب کی رضا کی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی. اے مسلمانوں تمہاری غیرتیں کیا ہو گئی، اے مسلمانوں تمہاری غیرتیں کیا ہو گئی، اے مسلمانوں تمہاری غیرتیں کیا ہو گئی، تم تماشائی تھے زینب منہ چھپاتی رہ گئی، کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی، کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی، قید میں بالی سکینہ کو ملا بابا کا سر، قید میں بالی سکینہ کو ملا بابا کا سر، قید میں بالی سکینہ کو ملا بابا کا سر، منہ پہ منہ رکھ کر جو سوئی ماں جگاتی رہ گئی، کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی، کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی، مادر اصغر نہ بیٹھی سائے میں اصغر کے بعد، مادر اصغر نہ بیٹھی سائے میں اصغر کے بعد، مادر اصغر نہ بیٹھی سائے میں اصغر کے بعد، سائے میں آئی تو زندہ لاش باقی رہ گئی، کیا رہا خیموں میں سہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی، کیا رہا خیموں میں شہ کے ایک اداسی رہ گئی، ہر تماچے پر سکینہ منہ پہ رکھ کے ننھے ہاتھ، ہر تماچے پر سکینہ منہ پہ رکھ کر ننھے ہاتھ، ہر تماچے پر سکینہ منہ پہ رکھ کر ننھے ہاتھ، نیل رخ ساروں کے غازی کو دکھاتی رہ گئی، نیل رخ ساروں کے